So today we are going to recreate the mobile view for this web view we did yesterday. So, and I believe we've all start practicing how to design it. So today we are going to design the mobile view. So we all know that this is how it will look like. So let's click on it. So this is how it will look like if I preview with my laptop, or when it's being coded. This is how it will look like this. So we are going to design for the mobile. So first thing first, we're going to use our mobile frame. So let's take this out. So I'm going to delete this since we've already recreated it. So I'm going to delete this. So we already have all these elements. So what we are going to just use is the font. We're going to use everything the same thing, but the only difference here is the sizes are going to reduce. The sizes including the image, the font, excluding the button. But the image, the font size is going to be reduced. Okay, so the image is to reduce. So these are the things that will reduce in the mobile. So first thing first is I'm going to use my mobile frame. So I'm going to click on frame and I'm going to select the mobile. So like I said here, what you're going to use, please once you call mute this. Okay, so once you just join, please mute. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to use the mobile. So just like I said we'll be using iPhone 13 mini. So at your level, what you'll be using is iPhone 13 mini. You can use iPhone 13 mini, you can use iPhone 14 plus. Okay. Sorry, iPhone 13 and 14 and iPhone 13 mini for now at your level. Okay. At times go on, you cannot use the bigger screen. But for now, you can use iPhone 13 and 14 or iPhone 13 mini. You can use all of them. I'm not saying you cannot use all. You can use all. But what I'm saying is, whenever you want to design for mobile, just use iPhone 13 and 14 or iPhone 13 mini, which is perfect. Okay. So what we are going to use here, we're going to use iPhone 13 and 14. So let's use this frame. So I'm going to bring it here. What is the first thing I'm going to do? The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to stretch it because it's going to be very long, longer than the web. So I think let's just leave it this way. So yesterday we created everything with auto layout, section by section by auto layout. So that is the same thing we're going to do here. You don't even need to stretch yourself. This is more like drag and drop, drag and drop, drag and drop. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to click on layout grid. I'm going to select column. So we said for mobile we'll use 6 and the margin is going to be 25, right? So this is what we have, and I'm going to zoom in. Sorry about that. So let's zoom in. So this is what we have. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to rename our frame to mobile landing page or mobile view or mobile landing page, whatever name you want to give it. So I'm going to drag this in here. So the next thing I'm going to do is now we're going to create our header. Now you'll be wondering how this header is going to be fit in. How are we going to create this header? So what we are going to do is we are going to create. So I'm going to first of all unlock it so that I can see everything inside. So I'm going to click on it. So once I click on it, I'm going to pick, the only thing I'm going to take inside is just the logo. So I'm going to take just the logo. So I'm going to duplicate this and I will come here and paste it inside the mobile. So I'm going to come here and then paste it. So yeah, and I'm going to reduce it. So I think this is okay since I don't need to reduce it. So this is okay. So I'm going to right click. Now I'm going to place the whole of this from this, the whole of this right up on the header down to the bottom inside an hamburger menu. So I'm going to right click, go to my plugin. So while I wait for it to load, I'm going to look for hamburger menu, those three dash being arranged. So let's look for hamburger menu. So this is like emoji. So I don't need emoji. I have to go back. I love the new update that Iconify gives. Like the new interface they did here is so fine. So here I'm going to look for menu, hamburger menu. So you just see them three dash like this. So then you can pick the ones you want. So you can filter search by any of them you want, like any of the categories of icon you want. You can just choose to pick the one you already know that is good for you. So I'm going to pick this one. This is like a Google material icon. So I think I dragged it. Okay, this is it. Now I'm going to take this out and I'm going to drag this in. So I'm going to zoom in and I will make it auto layout, and then I will increase the size. So this is actually the default size is 24. So I'm going to make it 28. So I'm going to add +4 to it to 28. So I'm going to place this icon at the center. So I'll just come to the place and then place it at the center. So I'm going to hold with the logo and then make it auto layout. So once I make it auto layout, I'm going to align it to the center. So once I align to the center, I'm going to adjust. I want this, I don't need this space here. I want it to get to this space. So I'll come here. I'll either adjust it by year or I come here and adjust it by year. So it's in the same thing, 162 and here is 162. So I've gotten what I want and then I'll make it auto layout again. So once I make it auto layout again, that is where I will now have to take this to the right and then take this to the left and then take it to the top and then place it at the center. So once I place it at the center, automatically it's at the center. So we are missing something here. So I'm going to go and get my status bar. You all know what is status bar, where we have the time and those Wi-Fi and all. So how do I get that? So I will have to click on this resources and I will go to okay, let's don't follow this way. Let's go back to community. So how do I locate community? Go back to your home, the Figma home page or Figma dashboard. So when you go back, okay, let's wait for it to go back. Let's wait for it to take us to. So I'm going to look for. So give me some minute. Let me switch to my other account. So while we wait for it to load, sorry, network has not been fed to me. Okay. I don't know. Network has never been fair to me. So when you go to your Figma dashboard, where you see your choose a file, either Figma or Figma, so something like this. Just scroll down somewhere around here. Ahead, it has opened. So this is how your Figma will look like. This is how exactly your Figma will look like. The reason why I didn't use that my other account is because I paid for Figma Premium features, so you might not understand how it look like. So I need to use how your own Figma look like so that you understand what I'm explaining. So this is how your Figma will look like. Figma as a beginner, this is how your Figma will look like. So all you need to do is just to come down here, explore community. So you click on explore community. It will open for those people using Figma desktop app. It will just open another tab for you that will display like this. That will display like let me go back to home. So it's going to take you to, so let me open here. So it's going to, when you click on this explore community, so it's going to show you like this. This is how community homepage will look like. So just something like this, something like this, like this, like this, like this. So what you just need to do is to come to this search bar here, or this, anyone, just come to the search bar and search for status bar. So when you search for status bar, it's going to show you stuff like this. So all you need to do is just to scroll down. When you scroll down, it's going to show you see all or see more. So let's wait for it to load, because it will show you both Android. It will show you iOS 17, like the normal dynamic island listing status bar for iPhone 14 and above. They will show you from iPhone 13 below. They will show you both for iPhone button status bar. They will show you for Android. So all you just need to do is to pick the one that is good for you. So we are using, we are designing with iPhone 13 and 14. So it's either you use 13 status bar or 14 status bar. So we are going to use iPhone 13. So iPhone 13, this is what iPhone 13 look like. But I want to show you how it will look like. But network is not being fair to me. So let's use let's use iPhone 14. Okay, let's use iPhone 13. Let's use the one that everybody is comfortable with. So this is how it look like. So I'm going to open it, open in Figma. So it's going to open. Okay, let's go back to our design. Why is loading? So let's come back to our design. So let's add this. Let's add this. I think I'll have to use some tab to see why. I don't know why. Am I the only one suffering this? My Figma has been hanging so bad. Okay, so while we wait for it to load, let's check if this has actually loaded. Okay, telling me to choose which of the accounts I want to use to view or edit on that file. So let's see if this one has actually load finished. Okay, it has load. So while we are waiting for this to load, so let's create this header. Are you guys still with me, or I'm talking to myself?
Yeah, with you, ma.
All right, thank you very much. So so we want to create this. So I remember I don't have the settings. I didn't place the settings I use for this on my style guide. So I will have to click on it, and I will have to go back and check the settings. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to scroll down because I want my design, both web and mobile, to be the same thing. But the only difference is the sizing. Okay. So I'm going to click on effect settings, and I'm going to see the settings. So I'm going to see the color I use is 7878, 25% opacity. Y is 4 and the blur is 12.12. So I'm going to come back here. Let's close it and then scroll back to the web. I will click on it and I will scroll down. So once I scroll down, I'm going to click on effects. Going to click this. Now, if I click effect, you see that this guy is under are the one getting the effect. The reason is because it doesn't have a fit color. So I'm going to add it a fit color. So just come here and click on plus sign. So the default color for fit color is always white. Okay. So it has changed. So I'm going to go back to what I'm doing. And I'm going to put 78, 78, 78. Very soon you start carrying color code. So here is already 4 and here is 12.2. Okay. So this is what we have, which is this. So I'm going to go back to my status bar to see if it has load finish, but it has not load finish. Okay, it has load finish finally. So we are going to look for iOS. So this is what is giving us the parents component. So you have for Android, you have for iOS, and you have for iPad. Okay, so you're going to scroll and just pick the one you want. So I'm going to use iOS. So what I'm using is this. So I'm just going to pick this one. So this for dynamic island. So this is what I'm going to. So I'm going to, since I'm designing with a white background, so I'm going to pick the one with white background. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just right click, copy, and come to my design, and then right click, and then paste here. So let's wait for it to paste. I don't know if it's actually delaying. So we have to go back. We have to copy and come back and then paste. Why is it taking time? Okay, it's pasting. Okay, then all I have to do is just to place it inside. So I'm going to take this a little bit down, and I'm going to pick this, and then I'm going to adjust to the left and adjust to the top. So once I adjust to the top, you see that there is space here. The reason is because we are using a bigger screen. Now you can remember when I said whenever you want to use design, always use iPhone 13 mini, because this is like the default screen size every designer needs to use. Okay. The reason why other screen is there is just because maybe you are designing for this particular phone. That's when you will not need it. But as long as you're designing for web mobile view, just use 375. Okay, like at your stage, at your beginner stage, use frame iPhone 13 mini. It's just like a beginner stage. As time goes on, you just design other screens you want to design. But if you want to preview with your phone, go ahead and preview with your phone. Figma will automatically adjust your design on your Figma desktop app to fit in with your phone size. Because I have one of my students that was saying, I'm using this long Samsung phone that is long, and whenever he wants to preview his design, he has never previewed his design, and he says that he's scared because it doesn't fit. I said, no, go ahead. And when he did it, Figma just automatically adjusts his design from Figma file to his phone. Okay. So now, yeah, I'm using a normal phone. I'm using XR, and this is not XR size. So this is 375 is XR size. So what I'll just have to do, I don't even need to panic. So I'm just going to link my Figma desktop app and my Figma mobile app, and it will just fit in. Okay, but the only issue is going to have those of us using button iPhone. It's not going to give you that beauty you're looking for. Okay, it's just going to squeeze your design. But for Android, for let's say phone below 5, is it 5, or those small phone. When I mean small phone, I mean like small screen of iPhone 8, iPhone 8 Plus, iPhone 7, iPhone 7 Plus, iPhone 6, iPhone 6X. Those small phone screen size, it will not fit. But as long as your phone screen is long and is okay, it's just going to fit. So we are going to adjust this like this here. So once we adjust this, we're going to take this to the top. So we're going to move it to the top. So you get that red line that they are on the same level. So once they're on the same level, you just hold this and then hold this, and then you cannot make it auto layout. So once you make it auto layout, this is what you have. But now we are having small line here, so you don't even need to bother. This is okay like that. So I'm going to it's just showing that this is the beginning of your design. So the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to design this this hero section. So you'll be wondering, how am I going to design these two things inside this small screen? Am I going to just squeeze everything together and place it there? No. So what I'm going to do, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to remember we added all this in. Oh, Jesus. We added all this together as auto layout. So what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to hold what we did auto layout and then duplicate it out. So once I duplicate it out, this is how it will be, like this, and then I'll just bring it in here. So I'm just going to bring it in here. Now, once I bring it in here, you see that the font is already outside. You see that the font is already outside. Sorry. You see that the font is already outside the frame, which is not supposed to be so. So what am I going to do? I will go back to my style guide. Now here we use 60. We use 60 here. So which is 64. Which I told you we didn't add it in the style guide, but always remember to add it in your style guide. Okay. Now, like I said yesterday, whatever you add in your style guide, the style guide that we did that time is not a complete style guide that you will use. Like, it's not a composite that you must not add or you must not remove. No, style guide is just like a guide to your design, right? And you can actually add and you can remove. Now, when we created the style guide, we made an assumption that 48 is perfect for the hero section for web. But when we did it with 48, we noticed that it was too small. we had to switch to 64, right? And now 64 is not in our style guide. What are we supposed to do? We're going to add font size of 64. Now, when you've added, anything you add and anything you did not add, remove it from your style guide, because it is like a guide for you in your design. Because anybody that see the style guide, person will say, okay, all these things that's inside the style guide, it is what you as a designer used on this design. And if developer comes to code your work, the first thing they will ask is, where is your guide? Because that guide is the word guide. You're supposed to know the meaning of word guide. It's just like something that gives you the knowledge of what you want to do, right? Just like when you want to travel and somebody gives you a map, your Google map. It's just like your Google map is like a guide to your destination. So that is what style guide does for UI design. So it will help you as a designer and also help the developer when implementing your work, because you will not like when a developer actually do a different thing in your design. No designers will want that. So now let's come back to our design. Now here we'll use 64, and 64 is actually too big for the mobile. So what we are going to do, we're going to go back to our style guide to pick the perfect font choice for the web view, for the mobile view, sorry. So we have to go back. Now we added 40 and we added 32. So now let's go back and let's use these two. So I'm going to go back to my mobile and I'm going to come here and I'm going to use 40. So I'm going to reduce this to 16. The button size is perfect. So I'm going to hold these together and I'm going to place it in the line. So I'm going to place it in the line. So let's take it out and let's bring it in. It shows us that red line. Why is it not giving us? So I'm going to check if it's more than 25. So it's more than, I'm going to take it 3 inside. So this is 25. So I'm going to reduce this one here. So I'm going to reduce this one here. So I'm going to reduce this text. So just going to reduce the size. I'm not going to touch the font size because font size is perfect. 16 is perfect for me. So I'm going to drag this in here. So I'm going to hold this and then bring it inside. So I think 40 is actually big. So I'm going to use 36. 36 is okay. And now we do not include 36 and black. So let's try extra bold to see how it is in mobile. Okay, this is okay, but I think I prefer this black. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go back to my style guide and include this font choice. Okay, this font size I just used. So yeah, I don't like how these texts are like, I don't like the way it is. The line height is too close to them. So I'm going to come to this font text here. So I'm going to click on the font first and then come here and then adjust. So here is this line height. So I'm going to adjust it. So if it's not moving, just add 0. So when you add 0, this is how it will be. You don't need to panic. What you don't have to do is just to play around with it. Just play around with it until you get the perfect line space that you want. Okay, let's reduce it. I think I'm satisfied with 150. So this is what we have. So we can now align everything and make sure that it is the space between them is 25. So this is okay. So let's reduce this space a little bit and this space a little bit. So I'm going to reduce this space here to 30. So I'm going to also hold these two together and reduce the space to 10. I reduce it to 10. So this is okay. So I'm going to zoom out this image and the background. So I won't take this image. I'll just have to go back to this image and then duplicate and then paste it here. So once I paste it here, you see that the image is too big. I don't need it. So what I have to do is just to come here come to this move tool, click on scale. So once I click on scale, I can now scale the image. So I'll just come here again and then align to the center. Now the image, this thing is kind of outside. So I'm going to scale it again. Now this is okay. I'm going to align to the center and I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Okay, I think this is perfect. So we're going to go back and then move it back to move to. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to turn off the layout grid. So once I turn it off, this is what we have. So let's go ahead and preview. So I'm going to preview like this. So now when I preview, this is how it will look like. Now the reason why it's like this is because we did not set any default font size. We didn't set any font size. So I'm going to turn it off. And I'm going to come back to my prototype. So once I come back to my prototype, I'm going to, so once I come back to my prototype, I'm going to click out if I'm clicking on any element. And I will come here. What am I using? iPhone 13 and 14 screen. So this is iPhone 14. This is iPhone 14 Pro. So now you can tell that there's difference in the mockup and there's difference in the frame size. So you don't need to just not like, let's say, remember we're using iPhone 13 and there's no iPhone 13 here. So what you just do, you just come here. If you don't know, if you can't remember the size of the frame you're using, just come back to the design. Click on this, you're using 390. That's what you are using. So you have to go back to your prototype, click out, click on device, and then you're using 390. So you just look for 390 and then you click on it. So we're using iPhone 14 here. So once you click it, you can now go back, click here, and then click here, and then preview. So once you preview, this is how it will now look like. So you can now move it this way. So let's wait for it to load. Now this is how it looks like. Now you can tell that there's space on this preview. So I don't want this space here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it a little bit up. Now let's do it before we can now add the background color. So let's zoom in. So let's reduce this a little bit. So I'm going to reduce this a little bit. So I think it's not reducing. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to click this header. So I'm going to click these two together and I'm going to make it to be minus. So I want, what is going on? So I want this, I don't want this space here. So I'm going to undo whatever I've done. So I'm going to take it out, both of them out. So I'm going to hold this header. I don't know what is going on with Figma. Figma needs to do better. So I'm going to remove them from auto layout. So I'm going to hold my control or command and then backspace. So once I click on these two of them, it's going to automatically leave auto layout. So I'm going to adjust them one by one. So for the status bar, I'm going to remove it from component. Remember, we copied from component. So I'm going to remove it from component. And I'm going to adjust it because I don't need this space here. So I'm going to zoom in. Then I will adjust it. Now you can tell it's okay. Then I'll bring this to the top. I'll bring it in and I get that red line. Now you can tell that it has covered. So I'm going to, now I don't want this line to be here. So I'm going to take this a little bit down. So I'm going to touch this a little bit and drag it here. So now let's see what we've done so far. Okay. So I'm going to click out and then hold both of them together. And then make it auto layout. So once I make it auto layout, I'm going to come back to my prototype. So once I come to my prototype, I'm going to click on fix, stay in a place, so that this can actually scroll. So I'm going to click on this mockup device here. I'm going to scroll. So I'm going to come back to my design. So I'm going to come back to my design and then going to add the background. So I've already fixed this at the position. So I'm going to zoom out and then add my background. So I'm going to hold this and I'm going to hold this and then I'm going to make it auto layout. So once I make auto layout, I'm going to bring this to this point here. So I'm going to bring this to this point and then fix at the center. So I can now add another auto layout to it and then move it to the center. Move everything to the center and then take this to the top here and then this. So you can choose to add padding. So in this aspect, let's add padding. So I'm going to hold this here. So I'm going to click till I see the number and then my cursor will change and then I'll drag it down this way. So I'm going to make it 30. So I think 25 is not bad. So let's come here and add 25 to it. So I'm going to add 25 to it. So we have 25 here and 25 here. You can choose to make it 1-1 if you don't want. But we'll move it to the top till I get a red line. And I will just add a background color to it. So once I add a background color to it, I'll just get my color picker. So my color picker, shortcut color picker is just keyboard I and then pick the color. And then we've created our hero section for the mobile. This is how it looks like. So before you move, you have to click on this device here before it will actually respond. Just click on the device before it will respond. So we've done the hero section for the mobile. Now the next part we're going to design is this place. Just the what we are going to be doing is just drag and drop. That's all. So I'm going to drag this here. Now you can tell the beauty of auto layout. So I'm going to hold this element inside and I'm going to make it swap. And I'm going to click container and I'm going to place it at the center. Now I've set it like this. So this, let's see the font size. We use 24 here. So I'm going to reduce it to 20. Now I'm going to adjust this element, this company logos inside. So this is what I'm just going to do. This is just what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to hold them together. I'm going to hold them together and then place it at the center in the screen. So once I place at the center in the screen, I'm just going to adjust, zoom in now, and then arrange it because this space between them is too much. So I'm just going to hold this and then come here to reduce the spacing. So this is the spacing now. The spacing, this is here. This place is, this red line here now is the 53. Okay. Why this is this one here. So this one here is too much. So I'm just going to reduce it like this. So I'm going to make it 35, which is okay. And I'm going to adjust this a little bit. Okay, this is okay. So now let's arrange it to the center. Don't forget your layout grid. Then we'll have to scroll, click on the screen, and then turn on our layout grid. Make sure that everything you're doing is inside the layout grid. Now you can tell that our T and S is outside the frame. Now let's arrange it very well. So if we are going to use this font size, so let's preview and see how it looks like here. Okay, so this is not bad, but I think we have to use our 20, but we have to bring it inside a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my text and then I'll just have to bring it in like this. So once I bring it in like this, I don't want it to be like this. So I'm just going to come here and align to the center. So once I align to the center, this is how it will look like. And then I'm going to adjust it. This is not bad. So I'm going to hold this whole of this. So I'm going to hold this and then adjust it not to pass my layout grid. Are my people staying with me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. So this is what I have. I'm done with
Yeah,
this section. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is this particular one. Now, which one do you think comes first? Somebody should answer.
I think
This
the
is an
text one
open one.
first.
The text should come first.
Maybe. Yes.
Okay. Who else think the text should come first? Okay. Who else thinks the text comes first?
I think the picture should come first.
Okay. Another person. Okay. There's a prize though. Which one comes first? The text or the image? Matt will have something to say.
The image,
The image.
the
Okay.
image, because yeah, because you are telling stories and we already have text already trusted by the WordPress companies and already have the company, so the image should come first, and then yeah, that's what I think.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, anybody else have something to say? Stephen and Joseph have something to say. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so let's continue. Everybody saying the image, some say the text, some say this. Okay, oh. So let's continue. So, in my own opinion, I will love the text to come first because allow me to read something before I will see the image. So here we don't. So the same thing we did here. That's what we are going to do here. So this is the beauty of auto layout. You don't even need to express yourself. You just drag and drop and then reduce. So I'm going to click on this. We added all this thing in auto layout. So I'm just going to click on it. So I'm going to click on it. So I'm just going to drag it here. So I'll bring it in here. And then I'm just going to reduce it. So here we use what did we use again? We use 48. So yeah, I'm going to use 28 or 32. So let's use 32. So 32 is not bad. So yeah, you're going to reduce from 32 to 24. So I'm going to hold this. 24 is actually too much. So I'm going to use 18. So remember, the reason why I'm just adding the numbers is because I already know what is on the style guide. I already know the numbers that is on the style guide. But you need to be sure. You need to be sure that I'm using the right font size I created on the style guide before you can just add it. So let's see how this will turn out to be. So 32 is not bad, but I think 24 is better. Or 20. Let's see 24. 24 is okay. 26 is not bad. So we didn't add 26, so you have to go back to your style guide and add it. Don't forget. So this is okay. Now I'm going to close. I don't like this space here. So, and this space here. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to hold the first one I did auto layout. I'm just going to adjust it here. Okay. So let's make it 15. And then I'm going to hold the whole of it and then make it and then make it and then let make it 25. Okay, so this is what I have. So now I'm going to adjust it now. Okay, this is how it will look like. So the next thing I'm going to do is to add my image. So I'm going to come here. So this is the image we use. Did I just pick the image? Wow, I didn't duplicate. Okay, so since I didn't duplicate, I'm going to borrow or duplicate from this one. So I'm going to duplicate from this one. So I'm going to drag it in and place it here. I don't know where it's running to. And then go back here, click on scale, and then scale the image. Now, the reason why we're using scale is not for you to, we don't need to stretch the image. So we don't want to stretch the image. So we are going to place it this way. So I'm going to align to the center. Now it's out here. So we're going to stretch it a little bit. So I think it has passed. Come back here. And then scroll up. Then move it back to move. And then hold, put it together, and then auto layout. So if you add auto layout to it, then what you will do is just to scroll, click on this device, and then scroll to see what you've done so far. So we can now move it here, and we can now move this one here. So once you move it here, you just align to the center. So we can add padding now to this. So let's add padding. So we are going to add padding here. So here we are going to add 16. So you can choose to make here 0, and you can choose here to make here 16. We are going to make both of them to be 20, up and down to be 20. So now we've created this. So in this part, if you don't want to add the font up, you can just come here. You can just come, let me move this device out. You can just come to this place you've made auto layouts, click on this drop down, and then close this guy. So you click on this. So this is the text. So this is the font. So the font is at the top. So what you just need to do is just to bring this image and then place it up here. It will change. So which one do you think is better? So do you think, let me click on the device. Do you think the image should be at the top and the text should be added down? Or do you think the text should be at the top and the image should be added down? Mind you, there is no, how do I even say this now? There is no law that the image should be at the bottom or the image should be at the top. It just depends on what you are designing for. So if you design the other way I design and you see that and you look at it and said, this thing is not actually looking good, what you all have to do is just move it, interswitch it. But in a place where you are designing plenty, like you have a lot of text here, and you have just one tiny image, you can place the image and a lot of text down. Don't make, now this is part of UI and design principle, don't make your user to be so bored when trying to read the information on the screen. So there is no law that this one comes first. It depends on what you are designing. Now, I love putting my font, my text first before the image. But when I design it, I found out that it's actually not looking good. It's not looking good. It's actually going to make the user to get bored. Imagine reading this, looking at this, and now you're telling me to read it again. Okay? Why not make the image to look lively for them, and then we have this text. So the next time they will come, it's just to see something like this. And now when they see something like this, by the time their finger touch it, you see that it will just hover. You get like reading and then hovering, you get. So there's no law.
Yes, ma'am.
There's no law that this must come first or this must come last. No law. Depends on what you're designing.
Yeah.
And the next thing we're going to do now, the next thing we're going to design now is this company feature.
Ma, I
That is
got
all.
you.
Please, can you mute or I will take you out of the call, please. Please. Because I'm recording this class. So the next thing we are going to do is this company future. So what are we going to do? Here we don't even need to stress ourselves at all, like at all. So what we are just going to do, we are just going to drag this out. So I'm going to drag this out. So let's hold it. So you can choose to drag them out and play around inside, but you can choose to just drag this out and then this. So in this aspect, I'm just going to use adjust the whole of this. So I'm going to drag this out of the frame. So I'm going to place it here. So I'm going to place it outside my frame. So once I place it, I'm going to leave it. Now I'm going to hold this first one, like this 3 card. So I'm going to go back and scroll and hold the 3 card, like the auto layer that is binding them together. So I'm going to hold the 3 of them, and then I'll come here and then click here. So now be straight. Our job is over. Now we're going to hold this text. So what do we use here? We use 20. So I'm going to reduce it to 16. So I'm going to align to the center. So here we use 48. I'm just going to use, what do we use here again? Can somebody remind me? 26, right? So we use 26. And then I'm going to adjust this a little bit. So let's adjust this. You can see the beauty of auto layout. This is the beauty of auto layout. As you are adjusting, is respecting itself. Like this is when you're giving somebody instruction and it's just paying attention to what you are saying. And then you just bring this frame in here and then you place it inside. Now it's actually big, right? So it's big. What did I do? So this frame is actually big. So we are going to pick the size of, so let's just adjust it inside. So let's just adjust it inside. So I'm going to bring it inside and I'll place it here. So I'm going to place it inside. Enter, please. So this is it. And I'm going to adjust to the left. So I'm going to drag this in here. So once I drag this in here, so let's turn off this layer grid so that we can see road. So I'm going to turn it off. So let me turn it off so I can actually see what I'm designing. So I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to scroll back to what I'm designing. I'm going to hold this and I'm going to drag it to the left. And then I want to move this guys at the center. Just come here, click on this, and then you see that it's now bigger than bigger than the screen. Now remember we did this remember when we are creating the web, we did this interactive, like we make it responsive. Now this is where it will work for us. So we are going to hold the 3 of them and then we are going to make it push it inside. Now once you're pushing it inside, you see that everything inside is actually adjusting. So once you are good to go, then you will hold this auto layout. Okay, it's actually fitting. Then let's turn our layout grid to be sure that it's actually giving us the size we want. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to zoom in. Okay, I tried. So I'm going to hold the 3 of them again. So I'm going to hold the 3 elements again and I'm going to bring it to this line here, and it has actually adjusted on the other side. So the spacing between them is perfect for me. So I'm going to hold this text here. So I'm going to bring the text in. So I'm going to hold this text and I'm going to bring this text in like this. So once I bring this, I think I'm okay with this font size. So I'm going to hold the the auto layout holding both of them together. I notice that it is outside. What is going on? So I notice the auto layout holding both of them is outside, like it's big. See, you can see it's big. So I'm going to bring it inside to be in this line. Now everything is now adjusted to what I want. So this is, you create it like this. Now we've created. So what I'm going to do, just reduce the space here and the space here. So here I'm going to hold these 2 together. So I'm going to look for this space now. So look at it. So I'm just going to reduce it this way. So once I've reduced it this way, I'm just going to hold this and see if I can adjust this. So this is too much. The space is too much. I'm going to adjust it to 44. And I'm also going to come here to adjust to 44 as well. Sorry, So I'm going to adjust to 44. Yeah. What is going on? I don't know. Am I the only one suffering this Figma hanging like Figma is actually hanging? I don't know if I'm the only one suffering it. So I'm going to, okay, I think I'm okay with this. Please mute, please mute, please mute, please mute, please. So I'm going to adjust it here a little bit. Okay, so this is okay for me. 50 is okay for me. So I'm going to check what I have done so far. So you can choose to turn off the layout grid to see what you've done so far. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to turn off the eye just to look at it. So I'm going to click here to see how it will look like inside a mobile, look like on the phone. So this is how it will look like. So yesterday I noticed that these two colors are different. So what we are going to do, we are going to change this color to our color. Now let's go back to the components. So I'm going to click here, then pick this color. Okay. I'm going to hold this and then see what we've done so far. Now, the next thing we're going to do now is we're going to design what next stage? This stage. And we're going to design this stage. So what we are going to do is you're just going to, now in this aspect, you can choose to interswitch it. Now you can now put the text at the top and the mobile at the bottom. Okay. So here we're going to bring this here. We're going to bring this here. We're going to drag it down. Now you're going to look at this text. Now what we are going to do here is we're going to bring out this text. So we're going to bring out this one here out into this here. Now we're going to zoom in and we are going to pick the fonts here. So here we're using font size of 26. So I'm going to click on 20 here and I'll select 20, type 26 or select 26. So I have this. I'm just going to copy, Control C, Command C. Then I'm going to highlight this and then I'm going to paste it. And I can now delete this. And then what is it? Is there a button? No. So I'm going to delete the button. So I'm going to delete the button. So I'm going to hold these together. So I'm going to hold the whole of this and I'm going to remove it from auto layout so that I can delete this button. So I'm going to hold my command and delete or control and backspace. So I'm going to hold it. Now you see that the button is now out. I'm now going to delete it. So once I've deleted it, the auto layout adjustment adjusts itself instantly. So now we need to replace the image, right? So I'm going to take this image. So let's go back to where we dropped the image. So I'm going to click on this image. I'm going to take it out. It's here. Hold my scale. Into it. Going to zoom in, return it back to move. I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to move it inside this auto layout. This is how it will be. So I'm going to delete this. So I can just delete this and then adjust this image to the way I want it. So I'm going to go back to my scale and then drag it a little bit. So once I'm done, turn on my layout grid and then set it very well. So I'm going to, once I turn, now this is what you to look like once you're done with scale. So just remove it, return it back to move, and then turn on your layout grid and then set your image very well. So let's set the image. The image is looking too tiny. So I'm going to go back to my scale. Then I'm going to adjust it. Then move it back to move. What's going on? Back to move. So this is what we have now. So I'm going to click here to see how it now look like. So when I click on it, this is how it will look like. Okay. So this is what we have. Now this space here is a little bit too much. So if it's too much, that means the space here is much. But do you think it's too much? I think this is perfect. So let's see the spacing size. So the spacing size is let's make it 60. 6 and 0. So let's come here. Let's make here 6 and 0. Okay, I think this is okay. So let's scroll back to see our design so far. So the next thing we're going to design is the impressive portfolio. So you're going to this app. So I'm going to give the white so we can see it now. So white going layout. So I'm going to take out this out, like I'm going to remove it from auto layout and then hold the four of them together. Now I'm going to, before we made it straight line because we are designing for web, but now we're going to like how they call it, vertical horizontal. Let me be sure what I'm saying here. So we made it let me be sure of the vertical and horizontal because sometimes it's actually confusing. So before we made it vertical alignment. So now we're going to do it horizontal alignments for mobile. Hey, leave that please. So this is how it's going to look like. So we're going to reduce the spacing between them. So all of them is 51. So we're going to make it to 40. Okay, so this is actually the space is picking. Sorry. So it's supposed to pick this one. This is 100 between them. So I'm going to make it. Let's hold on. Something is not right here. I need to be sure what I need to be sure of what I'm holding. Sorry, give me 1 minute. Sorry about that. Hey, leave that please. Sorry about that. So the space now the space here is 100. So I'm going to reduce it to 60. So I'm going to reduce it to 60 and I'm going to come here and align this to the center. So once I've aligned to the center, I'm going to scroll here and I'm going to make this 16. So once I make 16, I'm going to align like this. And I'm going to reduce this to 26. 26. So I'm going to seal the spacing between them. So this is 520, 590, which is too much. for my web. So I'm going to hold my scale. Okay, sorry about that. I had to let that women pass. Okay, so this is way too much. Now I'm looking at it, it's actually too much for this. So what are we going to do? I'm going to reduce it. So I'm going to go back to hold my scale. Okay, and I'm going to hold this to reduce it here. So I'm going to remove it from scale. It's actually staying big, so I'm still going to reduce it again. So hold my scale and reduce it. Should be reduced to, shall we use 390? So we need to make it to be below 390. So we have to that switch, which is not supposed to be so. So I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to reduce it. So you can come here to type whatever you want to type. So let's use 360. Now this is what we have. So I'm going to go back to my move. So I'm going to hold this, then I'm going to align to the center. Now I'm going to reduce this text, like I'm going to close it. So I'm going to close it. Remember, we're just doing something that needs to fit this phone frame outside, like my mobile frame. So once I'm done, I'm going to reduce this frame here. Just come here and reduce it. It will just fit in instantly. Then you can now go ahead and then remove it from background free color, or you can leave it for free color and then place it inside here and then align to the center. So once you align to the center, you see that there's space between the left and the right, and then you can now adjust it the way you want here. So all this thing will actually respond to whatever you are doing if everything is aligned here on the web using auto layout. So it will just be very easy for you. Now you can tell that this image has seen bigger than the frame. So what we are going to do, we're going to click on the auto layouts together, like what binds the whole of the images together. We're going to click on it. So we are going to hold the whole of this. So we are going to use our scale to actually fit the frame. So I'm going to bring it in here like this. Okay. So this is perfect for it. And I'm going to return back. So I'm going to go back. So once I'm done, this is okay. So this is okay like this. So I'm going to hold this space. Now this space between them is too much. So I'm just going to click here and then see the space. I'm going to reduce it. 30 is okay. Then this space now, this one holding all of them is too much. So I'm going to hold this. So I'm going to hold this and then bring it close. Yeah. And this, yeah. Now it's already at the center, so you don't need to stress yourself again. So I need to put it to the frame and then you can now adjust it this way. And you can now click here to see what you've done. You've seen it. So the next thing we're going to design, most things we're just doing here is just drag and drop. That is how this auto layout thing works. So now the next one we're going to do is this testimonial. Okay, so you'll be wondering, how does this work? Now we don't want to place this threads. We want it to move vertically. So what you're going to do here, you're just going to come here, bring this out. Just most thing we're doing here, everything we're doing here is just drag and drop. So bring this out like this, and then you are going to bring this here. Okay, let's adjust these elements. So we are going to adjust these elements. So I'm going to hold, now remember we have auto layout holding all of them together like this. So we're going to hold the 5 of them. Okay, so there are 6, some are outside the frame. So there are 6, and we are going to hold, okay, let's see the size. The height is 2 and the 4 is, no, the font distance is too much. So this is what scale does. Click on scale and then scale it. So let's scale it a little bit. So while you are scaling, this is how it will look like. So we will need to make the text to be readable. So we're going to scale it out a little bit. Okay, this is too much. Okay, you can now come here and just look at it. It's okay. So we are going to hold, let's see what we've done so far. I think this is not bad. So I'm going to take it out from scale and return it back to my design. And I'm going, this is already, so this is okay. So I'm going to drag it inside. So I'm going to bring it inside here. So I need to take it out again. Click out, click on it, and then bring it inside. Still not responding. Click out, click on it again, and then bring it inside. Then once it's inside, align to the left. So once you've aligned to the left, you can now go ahead and zoom. And then you will now, this is the 5 of it, which is okay. So we're going to reduce this. So I'm going to close this space to this place. So I'm going to hold it this way and then bring it this way. What is happening? So I'm going to undo that. Now you can see that auto layout is very, very tricky. Very, very. So the first thing we're going to do now, our text is actually not showing. So I'm going to place it at the center. Okay, not that. Let's see something. Okay, then I'm going to move this here. So first thing, I'm going to close this first. Let's close this so you can actually understand what we are doing. So I'm going to reduce this to my normal phone frame. So this is how it's going to look like. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look for this text here that is actually missing. So this is it. So I'm going to hold, what is going on Figma? So I'm going to hold this together and I'm going to close it. So then I've closed it. Now, let's remove this out first so that we can actually understand what we're doing. Now, I'm going to reduce this text to 20. What are we being using? This is 44. So we're going to use it to 26. And we're going to reduce this to 16. So I'm going to reduce this like this. And I'm going to align to the center. So I have this and I have this. So this is actually outside. So let's hold this. So we're going to hold the auto layout holding both of them together. So you can show you that there's auto layout holding both of them together. So we're going to take it out. So I'm going to hold this and align to the left. So I'm aligning to the left. Then I'll close the space between them. So what I'll have to do is now the second one is not showing. So I'm going to reduce the height. So I'm going to hold the 6 of them inside. And I'm going to reduce the height. So I'm going to hold the 6 of them. I'm going to reduce the height, which is okay. And I'm going to reduce the width of them. So let's see how we are going to reduce the width. So I'm going to hold it like this. And then I'm going to reduce it. So I'm going to reduce it. This is 319. So let's see if we can actually work as 3 Okay, before I do that, let's see if the text are readable. Okay, it's readable enough. So I think this is, let's see, 310. So I'm going to come here and remove the 9 and then add it. Or you can put -9. So it's okay like this. So I'm going to hold all of them and then the remaining 5 and then change it to 310. So that at least the other one will show. So this is how it will look like. So let's change. I think I'll have to add this a little bit. Okay, it's already on the background. I forgot it's already on the background. So yeah, I'm going to bring this align to the center. And I'm going to adjust this text. So I'm going to adjust this text here to this point. So let's place this one here. At least let the other image show. And let's hold these together. So this is actually going outside. So I'm going to bring it in here. And this here. Okay. So I'm going to hold this. And I'm going to close it. So I'm going to close it to be here. So this is how it will be. So I'm going to hold these two together and I'm going to make it also there. So this is actually not close to the line. So I'm going to click on it and bring it to the line here. Just the same thing we did for the web, but this in this aspect we are reducing it to for the mobile size. So we're going to hold these two together and then make auto layout. So once you make auto layout, you can now choose to drag it this way. Get to the line, please, and this to this point. Are my people staying with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm trying to place this at this point. So let's go and look at this. So we have 388. Is it 388? Let's be sure what we have here. 388. Okay. So I can go back to scroll. So I have this. Then I can now add padding. So let's add padding to it. So we have this and we have this. Sorry. We have it this way. So we got here is 18, here is 0. So let's give it padding of 25. 25, okay. Yes. Then let's get our fill color. So we've done those parts. So now we want this to be moving. Okay, let's see if it's moving here. It's not moving. It's moving, no? It's moving. Okay, yes, because we did not remove it from the frame. We still work inside the frame, so it's moving. Let's go back to our design and let's take it up to cover this space here. So we are going to take it up. So let's see. Okay, so the next thing we're going to design is this blue pattern, this blue section. So I'm just going to drag this out. So once I drag it out, this is how it will be. So since we've already gotten the number, so it's 388. So I'm going to make it to 388, 388. This is how it should look like. So I'm going to drag it. So you can choose to drag it, you can choose not to drag it. But if you drag it, just remember that it will be fixed at the center because we set our auto layout to be at the center. So I'm just going to drag it a little bit. And then I'm going to reduce the font size to what I'm using for the mobile. So here we have, what do we have here again? So here we have 20. So I'm going to make here to be 16. So I'm going to reduce it this way. Align to the center. I'm going to reduce this from 44 and I'm going to use 32. Should I use 20? Let's use 26. So I'm going to bring them inside. Now if I'm adjusting it, it's actually going to be stretching or to fix at the center. Now I'm going to reduce this, and I'm going to place it here. Now I'm going to align to the center. Now I'm going to take it up. So I'm going to take it up. Okay, let's see how this place look like. Okay, they are together. So that means I'm going to add, so that means I'm going to make the space here and here to be much. So I'm going to make it 35. Okay, so I'm going to take it up a little bit, and I'm going to take this up to this place. So now let's see what we've done so far. This is all we've done so far. So this space here is too much, so I'm going to reduce it. So I'm going to get this text to get to this line. So I'm going to zoom in. Okay, I think it's okay. Wow, and it's okay. Perfect. Wow, this is nice. So we're going to align to the center. So the next thing we're going to design is the footer. So what you have to do is just to drag this footer out here. So once you drag the footer out, you're now going to just make all of them now horizontal. So this is how it will look like. So we're going to hold, so we already did all these ones auto layout. So you just come here and then align vertical. Then hold these ones again vertical. Any other one again. I think the contact also, we're going to drag this to the down to see what we are doing. Okay, so we have this like this. Okay. So now this page is going to be too much. So this I'm going to take it as you said, it will just adjust to one side. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to hold these two again, and this product and about, and then make it auto layout, and then adjust vertical. Sorry if I'm horizontal. If I'm switching this thing, sorry, I'm always confused about vertical and horizontal. So, but I trust you guys understand what I'm doing. I'm sorry if I'm switching it. I'm so sorry. So I'm going to hold this, and I'm going to hold. So once I hold this, I'm going to take out now this auto layout holding them together. So I'm going to take it out. So now I want to bring this contact us to the here. So I'm going to hold this number 3 about us, this one and this one. Sorry, I'm not clicking it very well. Figma, I don't understand what is happening with Figma, and I don't know if I'm the only one suffering it. So I'm going to make it auto layout, and I'm going to make it horizontal. So this is how it will be. Now I'm going to now reduce the font text. Now this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to come here, and I'll reduce this. So I'm going to hold my stroke inside. So this stroke actually comes when you are done designing the frame size you want. Remember, we are designing with 388, right? So 388. Now this is how it will look like. So we don't need to design outside of this. So now let's reduce the font and the spacing. So I'm going to reduce this padding here. So I'm going to reduce this padding here to 25. So I'm going to first of all reduce this padding here to 25. Now the reason why I'm reducing it to 25, because remember our margin is 25. So that is why I'm reducing it to 25. So this font is actually okay. The font size here is okay. I think we have to reduce this one. So I'm going to hold these two together. So I think the about us information and the second about us is okay, because if you reduce it now, it will be so tiny because we use 14. So here the contact us, we want it to be visible enough. So I'm going to hold on them, and then reduce it to 14. I'm going to reduce it to 14 because we have 14, and I'm going to now, this is where we have to adjust this text to fit in. So I'm going to align to the left. So I'm going to align to the left, and I'm going to adjust it inside. So once I'm adjusting it, the reason why it's actually adjusting outside is because our auto layout is aligned to the left. So we'll have to go back. Now we have to click on the auto layout and align to the left. This is it. And then this is our contact us. Then we'll go back to this, our contact us. So I'm going to align to here to the left. Align to the left. Then hold this one and align to the left. Then we're going to close it. Then see if it's 25. Okay, so once you see that this thing is actually, the one holding them together is actually outside, so we are going to drag it inside and adjust to the center. We're going to adjust it to the center. Okay, I think when we adjust to the center, this one actually moves to the center, so we are going to undo that. So when you undo that, you're going to hold this and you're going to hold this together. So let's actually bring this to have space here. Okay, let's see if this will work. Okay, let's put a straight line with this one. So we're going to hold this together. Okay, this is actually not to the point of where we want. So I think something is actually outside. So let's see if you can get the measurements for this. Okay, 25. So I think we have to reduce this one here. And we're going to hold this and we're going to make it auto layout. So once we are done making it auto layout, we are going to now see that we've done this part to fit in. Now let's work on this. So here we are going to reduce this to 16 is actually okay. So this is okay. So what we are going to do is just to reduce this text now, like we're going to adjust it inside. Okay. So let's adjust it inside like this. And now let's reduce the spacing between them. This is okay. 2 is too much. 2 is too small. So let's make it 10. Let's make it 15 or 14. Oh, well. Let's make it 14. So we have this. So just adjust it to this part here. Here we have this. So I'm going to reduce the line. Now remember I said the line is the last thing that we're going to adjust. So I'm going to click on this here and then click on the line and I'm going to reduce it. So I'm going to reduce it to 3, where is the height? I'm going to reduce it to 388. And I'm going to align. So what's going on? So once I hold this line here, I'm going to once I hold this element together here, I'm going to hold this and then align to the center. So I'm going to make sure that everything is together, then align to the center. Then, sorry, hold all of them auto layout. Sorry, my Figma is hanging and I don't know why. So I'm going to place them to the center like this. And I'm going to hold this and I'm going to adjust it to the center. So once I adjust the center, this is how it will look like. So you see that it is more than. So you see that it is more than. So this is what is showing me that's causing it. So I'm going to reduce it like this and then we are good to go. So once I'm done, I'm going to zoom out, bring this inside here, and then align to the center, and then move it up, and then close the segmenting. I don't need it. So once I'm good to go, I can now check what I've done so far. So let's turn off the layout grid and let's go back to our preview, our design. So this is what we've done for the mobile. So this is what we've done for the mobile. So I'm going to cover this white space here. So if you cannot use auto layouts, it is not. Now let me tell you the difference between group, frame, and auto layout. Now let me break it down in a layman's language. Now the difference between these three now is auto layout. You could tell how easy, it's difficult. Let me start with the challenges first before I go down to the awesomeness about it. Auto layout is difficult when you are starting out, but auto layout will help you align your work very well. You don't even need to start adjusting. Now let's say we use grouping, like we group, and when you want to adjust, imagine you start dragging everything to adjust in, start arranging it from the tiny element down to the group itself. Same thing with frame. Okay, same thing with frame. But with auto layout, it is just very, very easy. So I will advise you at your stage, if you want to use, it's either you use auto layout or frame. Now, this is what frame does. Now let's take what am I going to play around now with frame? Now let's use this one now. Let's use this one now as, let me remove it from auto layout and use frame and show you what I did for this section using auto layout and what I'm going to do using frame. Now let's remove it from auto layout. Let's remove everything from auto layout. Now I've removed it from auto layout. I'm going to hold these elements inside. I'm going to remove it from auto layout. So once I remove from auto layout, it automatically, let me close this. Now it automatically turns it here, 346. It automatically turns to frame. So I'm going to take everything out from auto layout. Now I'm going to take everything out from auto layout. So now it automatically turns to frame. Now I want to adjust it for mobile, and we use frame for the web. I'm not saying it is bad. It is okay. It is perfect, but it saves time. That's the difference. It saves time. Now this is how we want to use frame. Now first thing first is we're not going to adjust this now. Now we're going to adjust this. Now you can see when I was adjusting it, these other ones were not, when I was adjusting it using auto layout, it was just responding immediately. But in this aspect, it's not responding. Then I'll have to come here. I will drag this now. Then I will have to come here. Okay, let's remove this frame out. Then we'll remove this frame out. We'll remove this frame out. Now all of them is standing on their own. Now all of them is standing on their own. Then I will have to come here and drag this one here. Then I'll have to come here. I will now hold these two together. And this one, I will now drag it this way. I will now come here and now adjust it. Now come here, I'll reduce it. I will now come here and align to the center. Now place it here. I will now hold this and this. I will now align it. Once I align it, I will now make them frame section, frame selection. I will now come here. I will now hold it like this. I will now adjust it again. Now when I adjust it, I will now hold this one inside. I will now hold my shift to start getting the center line. I will now hold my shift to get the center line. I will now bring it in here. I will now place it. If it's not correct now, let's say if it's not correct now, the frame is big. Now you see that the frame is big. I'll now have to go out again. I'll start adjusting. Now you can tell how many seconds, or sorry, how many minutes I have used to start adjusting this thing. But with auto layout, as you're adjusting one, it's actually responding. Like I said, it is not bad for you to use frame. You can use frame, but where I would say it is now over bad is when you use group. Because if you want to stretch your work, like now, let's say for instance, now you are done with your landing page and you want to close this space here. And by the time you close it, everything will just stretch. Like it will just, when something is stretching and you're returning it, everything will just squeeze itself inside. That is how bad group is. But with frame, it will not actually mess up your design. It's just going to be the same way. But the only difference about frame and auto layout is auto layout saves you time. It saves you time a lot. But frame is good, but it's just like spending more time trying to adjust one or two that you need to adjust using auto layout. Like I said, auto layout is very, very tricky. It can mess up your mind, like it can mess up your head, it can mess up your design if you are not careful. It might even it can frustrate you. I remember when we were trying to do that, it was it our last week class, like you guys can notice from my voice that auto layout actually frustrated me. Like it frustrated me, but I said no, I'm going to do it to get it right, and I got it right. So you can tell how auto layout can actually frustrate a user, but if frustrate a designer. But if you are good with it, trust me, you will not even remember that it is frustrating. It's going to be very, very interesting. So you can add a little bit of frame and also add a little bit of auto layout. So add the both of them when creating your design, at least so that you start doing it small. That's why I said whenever you want to create your button, create it with auto layout. Don't create it with frame. Don't create with group. Okay, create with auto layout. Section by section. If you cannot do auto layout, do frame. Small, you will understand it. And you people will not believe that I started design in 2021, but it is in 2024 I learned how to design with auto layout on a landing page. You will not believe. And if I don't tell you, you won't know. You can tell for over 2 years, 3 years, I have been designing with frame. Until when I actually took a course on only auto layout in 2024. That was when I learned how to use auto layout perfectly. You get. So it is not that difficult. I will say it is not that difficult, but it is difficult. But if you understand it and you know how to do it perfectly well, then you're good to go. But if it's difficult that you cannot, it's difficult and it's frustrating you, go ahead and use frame. Okay? Are you guys with me?
Yeah, with you, ma.
All right. So I'm going to stop this recording. So one more time, let's preview our design before we can go ahead and then call it a day. So let's preview our design. So I'm going to click this and I'm going to click this. Okay, so let's preview our design one more time before we can. So this is what we have for the mobile. And this is what we have for the web. Okay, let's say load. Okay, while we wait for it to load. Okay, so now the reason why it changed like this is because the web and the mobile is on one screen. So if you move this web to another page and the mobile on another page, it's not going to act up like this. So that is why I always advise designers, design on your page. Now let's close this place. On your page, like your page here now, the web should be on this page 1 and the mobile should be on the page 2 to avoid this kind of error. So that you will not say, I don't understand what is happening. No. Okay. So to avoid this kind of error, your mobile, once you are done designing like this, just move one of the design, move the web to the next page or the mobile to the next page to avoid something like this. Okay. Because the reason why it's like this is because on our prototype, on our prototype, it is in phone device. Okay, it is in phone device. That's why it's giving us that phone frame there. So we can place it in, let's put for iPhone 14 inches. So let's click on web and see how it will look like. So let's wait for it to load. So this is how it will look like. But I think there's space here because the frame size we use and this is not the same thing. So I'm going to come back to my prototype. So I'm going to click out, go to prototype, click out. I'm going to select the screen size. So what I use there is desktop. So let's see desktop. So there is no desktop in it. So that's why I use none. So I am always using my my screen, my laptop screen size to preview it like this. So I prefer using it like this. It's better for me. I don't know for others. So this is what we have here. So this is what we have. And this is what we have. Okay. So we are going to stop the recording now. So go ahead and ask your question. Do you guys have questions for me? Or do you have question concerning these UI screens we did?